Hey, folks, we're going to try to make this quick. So, 10/21, the Tri County Tackle Football Championship for 10U took place, Genelette and Seneca, between Wren and the Bobcats. There were a lot of penalties called, a lot of disagreements. Um, and I mean, honestly, it's one of those things that a lot of people you need to review, you need to look at. So, we're going to talk about some of the holding penalties because that was the biggest issue in the first half. And then we're going to talk about the thing that was on everybody's mind, right? Is the ineligible man downfield. So, starting with the holding penalties, we're going to go over a couple here. First thing you got to understand is that holding is whenever you're impeding a defensive player's path towards, so a tackler's path towards the ball or the ball carrier, you're impeding their path without being directly within it. So you're holding them as they're trying to change direction. It's kind of simple, but we'll show you guys a couple examples. Big thing we want to look for here is this right tackle. So play begins. Ball carrier was the motion man coming across here. This is a good block, right? Especially because of how much bigger this kid is than him. He really mans up and is able to handle it. The issue being was as this ball carrier moves behind him and this tackler tries to change direction, it's just, this is, textbook, right? Now this one back here can be considered a hold too, but it's not so much. This one here is absolutely, definitely a hold, right? You can see Laundry's going to end up on the field. That's going to cost him 10, first and a mile coming up after that. Next one we're going to talk about, we're actually going to go to the other side. So we're going to talk about the left tackle this time. And the ball carrier is going to be Eli Cleveland right here, the quarterback. All right. So ball's going to get snapped. Right. This block's going to engage right here. This is a legitimate block. But what's going to happen is that this defensive player is going to get that outside track on this tackle as the ball carrier is moving that way. Okay, and as a result, he's going to get a hold of him right here. You see him pulling him into the ground and he just lays him into the dirt, right? Kid comes right here, flag gets thrown at his feet. You can see it right there. Just absolutely blows his gourd. Look at that. Boom. Doesn't know what happened. He sells it pretty good though, you know. But that one got called. So it's going to happen. This one here, we're going to look at this same part of the field. We're going to look at just inside the tackle box. I think this one's the right tackle. Once again, it's going to be this big kid. It's going to be him right here. Block's going to engage, right? Ball carrier is the motion man right here. You're going to see as he gets a hold of him, this right here is a legal tackle. The problem is that right there. So what's happening is he's trying to move towards the tackle and he's trying to drive him. But what happens is this lateral movement that causes it to be a penalty, right? The issue here is nobody throws the flag, right? Which is pretty good. Now, there's other things going on in this play. I really don't understand what's going on right here. Neither does he. So, and then right here, you got Mr. Petey Ridley saving the day with the chains. Not all heroes wear capes, but that didn't get called. So that went our way, I guess you could say. Another example of that's going to be this one here. Let's keep an eye right here, right tackle once again, right? Engages his block. Now the problem here is right there. See him holding on to him, unable to make the tackle because he's being restrained from changing direction laterally. Okay, the biggest thing when it comes to linemen is when they try to change direction laterally. A lot of times it's a harder sell laterally, all right, because it's not so much that he's trying to sell the hold, it's that he's trying to make the tackle still. A lot of pro level, college level, you'll see that when we get called because they'll make a bigger deal of it. They'll throw their hands up and flop. So half of those got called, half of them didn't. One thing that you just have to understand about holding is that it literally happens every single play. Do they catch it all the time? No. Right here, you got eyes on the ball carrier, eyes on the ball carrier, eyes on the ball carrier, right? There's another judge that's back here, the back judge, but for all you know, everyone's watching the same spot, so penalties could be rampant anywhere else, right? Like right here, it looks like you got illegal hands to the face. It just is what it is, right? Penalties are going to happen. They're going to miss them. Now, it's not the ones that we miss that we really care about, and that's where we really got to sit and think about what happened last night, because the biggest penalty that we ended up having, or not having, whatever, the biggest penalty that ended up taking place was this one, and this was the illegal man downfield. Illegal man downfield is whenever an ineligible receiver moves down the field, right, during a pass play. So it's really only something during a pass play. During a run play, any player can go anywhere they want, right? But during a pass play, only your eligible receivers can move a certain distance forward to the line of scrimmage. Eligible receivers are going to be your skill position players, including the quarterback. So wide receivers, tight ends, fullbacks, halfbacks, quarterbacks. All right. The ineligible receivers are going to be your center, your guards, and your tackles. So the five guys at the line of scrimmage. NFL rules are 1 yard beyond the line of scrimmage, you get a flag 5 yards back. NCAA rules are 3 yards beyond the line of scrimmage, 5 yards back. Okay. I'm assuming that the rec league TED U football is going to be closer to NCAA than NFL, but what we're going to use for this, just for argument's sake, we're going to say NFL rules. Now, you no longer are an ineligible man downfield when the ball's in the air, right? So once the ball's in the air, the ball is literally it's not in possession, right? That's why it can be intercepted. It can change possession depending on who comes down with it. So this situation specifically here, we want to focus on these linemen and we want to focus on this solid white line. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play it and I want you guys to tell me what you see. Did you get that? Yeah, same. Me neither. Um, I didn't see what they must have saw. So the big thing that we're going to look for here is once again, white line. This is the judge who throws the flag. You want to look at this right arm. You want to look at his head angle here. And then what we want to do is you're going to have your two wide receivers here, and then you're going to have Jalen Simpson. So this right here is Xavier Watt. He is going to be the one who actually catches the ball. Jalen Simpson's going to be right here. You got another wide receiver on the far side. Jalen is kind of like a tight end, so he is an eligible receiver. So the three guys that go downfield are all eligible. The running back engages in a block, and the quarterback comes back here and throws the ball. So all of them are all eligible, and they all stay eligible. The issue that I think that everyone's looking at here, right, is this young man right here. Okay, so right there, him. Actually, no, that's Jalen right there. So he stays behind the line of scrimmage. This young man right here, right there. You're going to see his foot. See his foot move past that line. So since the foot didn't touch the ground, technically he didn't move the yard. But I think that's what he saw because that's when his hand, as soon as his foot goes across that line, he reaches for that flag to toss it. Now, the big thing that we need to understand that here is that right here, I don't know if you guys can see it, but that right there, that's the ball. He's watching the ball. And you could tell because he watches the ball go to the receiver. So I don't know what the penalty is here. So I strongly disagree with this one. Of course, it was a bang bang play. It happens. The issue with this play and the issue with how the penalty was called was that after this is when everything just sort of kind of came apart at the seams as far as discipline goes for the Cats. And it just kind of goes to show that, a bad call, they're going to happen, right? Nobody really agreed with this call. Like I even think that some of these guys were like, what? Um, but I mean, 2 plays later, you had a coach get called for unsportsmanlike conduct. In the second half, you had players chirping against the officials. You had unnecessary roughness calls. I mean, you had a lot of discipline involved plays. I mean, a lot of discipline involved plays. Like the boys just completely lost their minds. They started to not agree with the rules of the game. And when you're trying to develop passion and you're trying to develop, sportsmanship, it's really hard to do that when calls like this take place. I mean, when they feel like they got robbed. Now, the fans got involved at this point. The fans started screaming at the field. The fans started screaming at the refs. There's a lot of chirping taking place. Now, the chirping that was taking place, I'm just going to say this as someone who was sitting up in the press box. We need to make sure that we're being careful about it. And the reason being is not because, oh, you don't want to get kicked out of the game or you don't want to hurt someone's feelings, is that we had a tale of two halves. In the first half, you had Seneca being called for basically everything under the sun: hold, false start, everything, offsides, everything, right? This illegal man downfield, just everything. In the second half, though, I don't know if a correction took place. I don't know if it was human error, but it was Ren that was making all the mistakes. It wasn't Seneca. Now, Seneca got in trouble for a couple of, like I said, discipline things, personal fouls, and unsportsmanlike conduct, but the drive stallers were actually taking place during Ren's play. And I'm just going to say this: that cheapens the victory for Seneca. And in cheapening the victory for Seneca, you give people like Ren or Westminster or Walhalla any of these other teams, any of these other programs, you give them a reason to look at you and say that your wins aren't legitimate. So remember, when we're looking back at all the medals and stuff that our kids have, we need to make sure that they earned it under their steam and they got credit for it in the long run, right? These kids are so incredibly talented, and we want to make sure that they're moving forward in a way that's going to better them. It really starts with us. So if we can, make sure that if we're going to yell at the refs, try to spread them out a little bit. Maybe learn cuss words in a different language that not people don't typically speak. I think we have a really low like Vietnamese population here, so I think you're pretty good at learning a couple of Vietnamese cuss words. So let's just dial it back a little bit. Really focus on the kids, guys.